Welcome everyone to History Gone Wilder, part of Half History Will Travel. I am your host, the Wilder Historian, and in this video I want to discuss one of the most iconic images in American history. It is labeled simply Gordon, or Whipped Peter. I hope everyone has seen the image being shown. It shows a shirtless African-American man with horrendous scars on his back. Little is known about the man in the picture, and that information we do know is sometimes suspect, so I will attempt to create as good of a picture as I can about who this man was and what he means to American history. In 1862, large sections of Louisiana came under Union control, and it would be Louisiana that Abraham Lincoln would pick to attempt a loyal state government. Before the war, New Orleans acted as one of the largest slave markets in the country, and its slave auctions and slave pens have been well documented by historians. The 19th Corps of the Union Army operated in Louisiana in early 1863. In March of that year, 3 months after the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect, 2 runaway slaves came into their battle lines. The enslaved began freeing themselves by entering Union lines when the Civil War began, but the first Confiscation Act and now the Emancipation Proclamation legally secured the freedom of those slaves who risked life and limb to escape their slaveholders. When the 2 slaves came into the camp, Army surgeons found out their names were Gordon and Peter and examined them. They found the horrendous scars on Gordon's back, and those surgeons commented that many runaway slaves came into their lines with such scars. Some New Orleans-based photographers were present in the Union camp and used the situation to capitalize on the important moment. First, Gordon was photographed, wearing the clothes in which he came into camp. The material used to make the clothes was called at various points slave cloth because that made it easier to identify them. Clothing represented your social status, and the slave cloth made the enslaved easier to identify, especially if they were runaways. Gordon wears a common type of slave cloth in the photo. Next, they took a photo of him shirtless, with his back to the camera, showing the scars from a whipping he received from an overseer. Gordon explained that the overseer beat him so viciously that he laid in bed sick for 2 months, and that the slave owner discharged the overseer who beat him. Nevertheless, Gordon resolved to run away from the plantation, where around 40 slaves still worked for the slave owner. A manhunt ensued, and Gordon and his partner carried onions in their pockets from the plantation, and when they crossed a waterway, they would rub the onions over their body to throw the dogs off the trail. Over the course of 10 days, they journeyed 40 miles to freedom. The scars remained a testament to the brutality of slavery. The photographs taken got distributed throughout the North to hammer home why Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. As long as this type of behavior existed, was perpetrated on another group of people just based on their skin color, and the mentality that one person is better than another so that behavior will be construed as appropriate, the peculiar institution of the South needed destroyed. The third photo taken of Gordon wraps up the story. It's of Gordon in a Union uniform. He became a sergeant in the Louisiana Native Guard. Another aspect of the Emancipation Proclamation that gets less attention is that it allowed African American males to join the Army. So, not only did it free slaves in areas of rebellion, minus some states and counties where Union presence existed, it helped fill the Union ranks with those men who escaped their bondage and allowed them to free others. In May 1863, he took part in the siege of Port Hudson, and at some point was captured by Confederates who tied him up and beat him, but he escaped back into Union lines. After that, the historical record goes cold, and we don't know what happened to Gordon afterward. Although the rest of his life is a mystery, he and his image is now a part of American history, representing thousands upon thousands of runaways who risked their lives to get out from under the bondage of slavery. One newspaper claimed, "This card photograph should be multiplied by the 100,000 and scattered over the states. It tells the story in a way that even Miss Stowe cannot approach, because it tells the story of the eye. If seeing is believing, and it is in the immense majority of cases, seeing this card would be equivalent to believing things of the slave states which northern men and women would move heaven and earth to abolish." Another newspaper stated, "We of the 19th century today behold the outside view of the moon and the inside view of slavery, the light of heaven that shoots through well-defined lenses of the camera, and quick as a flash precipitates the outlines of the image upon the chemically prepared plate within, cannot and does not lie. All the logic of the blind and infatuated believers in human slavery cannot arrest or thwart the progress of truth, any more than they can prevent the development of the positive picture. when aided by the silent and powerful process of chemical action. Other images of slavery scars can be found, but none like this and none more recognizable. Although we don't know what ultimately happened to the gentleman, his image invigorated many Northerners to prosecute the war as the best way to rid the country of such a heinous institution.